Faculty Podcast.
Welcome to the Noble Faculty Podcast.
I am Topper, and I want to welcome you to today's episode. Thank you very much again for all the support. This one's going to be... I don't know how you're going to take this one, but we're going to get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it. So, guts and glory, fame and glory. I want to talk about this because I've realized some people want all the fame without the work that goes into it. And what do I mean by that? Everybody wants to be famous, everybody wants to be known without being known for something. They just want to be known. They want the fame. They want all the recognition, but without doing something for it. For me, I'm the opposite. I don't know about you. I'm not looking for the fame. I want to be known for something. In fact, I want the fame, or should I say, I want the recognition for that thing that I'm doing. For instance, I want this podcast to be recognized rather than me being recognized, if that makes any sense. Hence, if you are congratulated or recognized for doing something, it's not fame anymore, that's glory. It's transcended fame. It's gone beyond fame. You now have the glory of being recognized for doing something successfully or consistently. Fame is not necessarily a bad thing as such. I'm just shocked that people aspire to fame. There are many people, not all, there are many people who want the fame without doing anything for that fame. They want the recognition without being recognized for anything. And there are a lot of people who have the temerity, the bravery to try and build something, and they get recognized for it after. In fact, the intention is not to be recognized for that thing. It's just to achieve something, if that makes sense. I'm not saying when you're doing something you shouldn't be recognized for it, but the real intention behind what they're doing is the work. It's about making that thing work. It's about making sure they are successful at what they're trying to produce. In essence, there is substance behind what they're being recognized for. And as I said, I'm not against fame or anything like that. You know what? Fame is now a commodity, actually. Fame is now a product. People have been able to finesse fame. I don't want to mention Kim Kardashian, but this message is for those of you who are not about that fame. This is for those of you who have the guts to chase your dreams, to build something from scratch, to go through the adversity and to try and achieve something no matter what odds are against you. Because it takes a lot of bravery to try and achieve when everybody's saying you won't do it, you won't make it. A lot of people won't believe in you. A lot of people just want you to do something for the sake of money or for the sake of fame. But you're going against that grain, so I applaud you. It takes a lot of guts. And today's podcast is titled Guts and Glory, because whenever you're trying to do something, people will say you shouldn't. People will say it won't work. People will question your ability to achieve it. But you know what drives you. You know what your purpose is. And you know the reason why you're going for it and what you believe you will achieve. And that takes guts to stand up against the flow of the tide. That takes guts. Now, I want to say something before I go into these action points. There's something we need to recognize in ourselves. Revolutions and evolution. It's quite important. Now, evolution is about gradual development of something. You gradually develop, you're bringing something together. You see, that saying Rome wasn't built in a day applies in this case. When you're trying to build, you will make many mistakes, you will fall, you have to pick yourself back up, People will let you down. You need to carry on. But that process, that continual process of you striving and you keep on going, that is evolution. We have to evolve, but you don't evolve by doing nothing. Okay? You have to evolve, but you don't evolve by doing nothing. How do you evolve? You need your revolutions. Your revolutions is repeatedly doing something from a different angle. That's what your revolutions are. Your revolutions, what I'm talking about here, your revolution is a dramatic and wide-reaching change in condition. In essence, each evolution brings you a stage closer to that moment where your life will change, your revolution. And to get that revolution, you need to evolve. But the process of evolving requires you to revolve. To revolve is to do something repeatedly. Do it repeatedly from different perspectives. So that's what you do consistently, what you're doing all the time. When you're focused on something, you continue to work on that thing repeatedly until you get it right. And you can only grow around what you evolve in. People want quick fixes. People want instant fame or instant growth or instant glory. It's not going to work. You need to build it gradually. Anything worth having, anything that will have longevity, it needs to be built gradually. Now, we need to take some lessons from this, as I always do. Lesson number 1, remove your dependencies. The reason why I'm saying remove your dependencies, if you're not able to achieve something without other people doing it for you, you're on shaky ground. It's like you having a 4-legged chair or 4-legged table and somebody else owns one of those legs. The moment you take off one of those legs, that table or that chair becomes shaky. Now, what you need to do, there's nothing wrong with asking for help, but what you need to do is get yourself into a position where even without the help, you are still able to survive. So for instance, maybe instead of having 4 legs, maybe you only make do with 3. Position your 3 legs around the table or the chair where it won't fall down. That's something that you might need to consider. I'm just using that as an example. The reason why you need to remove your dependencies is that it's important for you to empower yourself. Don't place power in the hands of other people because we are humans. People can and will let you down. Maybe not on purpose, but they will. So you need to empower yourself and reduce people's control over you. So that's what I mean by reduce dependencies. The second lesson, don't deny the process. The process is extremely important. Whatever you're going through, that adversity, the suffering, hope that you will overcome it because you learn from those things. You grow from those things. And every single time I realized, anytime I don't give up, anytime I stay the path, it's always hard. But on the other side of it is great glory. On the other side is a blessing that I didn't even imagine. I will reveal something at the end of today's episode. Now, the third lesson I want you to take from this is for you to appreciate growth, appreciate yourself, appreciate what you've done, appreciate how far you have come. Growth is the difference between where you were and where you are now. Are you telling me that when you look back 6 months, a year, 3 years, you're still in the same position? You have grown, you have evolved. You might not be where you wanted to be, but you're further away from where you were. And that is something to be celebrated. So appreciate your growth. Take stock and keep on building. And the last thing I'm going to say, stop looking for shortcuts. Go through the process. The process is there for a reason. In that process is where you gain your knowledge. In that process is where you gain your experience. And that process is where you gain your skill. Go through the process. Stop looking for shortcuts. I used to watch this show, I think it was on MTV, and it was Ron's House. That's what it was called. It was called Ron's House. And Reverend Ron would say something I think you would see if you watch the show. At the end of each episode, you would see him in his bathtub, and he will be sending out a message on his BlackBerry. And one of them said, if you're looking for shortcuts, you will be cut short. Don't look for shortcuts. You will be cut short. Nothing worth having was ever got overnight. People who say, oh, they were an overnight success. Well, that's a lie. There was a process behind it. Nobody's ever an overnight success. The fame and the glory might come overnight, but the process of getting there was not overnight. Anything worth having is never gained overnight. There's a process to it. And that is the end of today's podcast. Just want to say thank you to everybody. I know this podcast is coming to you very late. I normally like for you to get it Monday morning, but today you're not going to get this week's episode on Monday morning. You'll probably get it Monday afternoon or Monday evening. And it's because I'm not making excuses, by the way. This is the 8th episode. And in 8 episodes, God has given me the grace to start my own studio. So now we have a studio. I'm not recording out of that studio today. And that's one of the reasons why this episode is coming out late. Because we were so focused on putting the studio together over the weekend that we didn't even run out of time. By the time I went back to the studio, I didn't have my keys. I couldn't gain access into the studio. Security wasn't there, so I had to go back home again. Anyway, long story short, this episode is coming out late. But on the other side of that is great news, which is we now have our own studio. And what I'm trying to say to you is all I have done is, one, be myself, work on what I've wanted to work on, do it consistently for 7 weeks, and in the 8th week, I've been able to own my own studio. I want you to understand something. When we started episode 1, I hadn't got any money set aside for the studio. I didn't have any intention to kind of own a studio. I just went on. Yet here we are in under 8 weeks. The opportunity presented itself. And all glory be to God. It's happened. So I just want to say I'm thankful to God, and I appreciate all of you that we're able to kind of evolve. We're able to evolve. And this is because our actions have continually revolved around doing the same things over and over again, but from different perspectives. I've simply tried to give you this podcast, and then the opportunities have arisen from that. So keep on going, keep on sharing. God bless. We're now on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iTunes. You know what? You can Google us. You will find us. Noble Faculty Podcast. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
We are awesome.
We are noble.
We are able.
You have just listened to
The Noble Faculty Podcast. You have been put on this earth for a purpose. If you are inconsistent at something, then you are consistent. Don't waste your gift. The time is always right to do right.
Lead, follow, or get out of the way. Get out of the fear zone.
Villagers remind you of how far you have come and how far you need to go. You have just listened to The Noble Faculty Podcast. You have just listened to The Noble Faculty Podcast.